South Africa are semi-final bound after a victory against the West Indies in their final in their final Super 8 match. Close victory again, another nerve-wracking match, another nail-biter, another one that went right down to the wire. South Africa again under pressure and managing to get over the line despite the pressure situation. So another victory for South Africa. They remain unbeaten and they go into the semi-finals. This is what I wanted from as a minimum from a South African standpoint. I said that I was hoping that we will get into a semi-final, and that was what I was hoping for with this particular team. And they haven't let us down when it comes to that. There are going to be a couple of talking points when it comes to this particular victory. There are some negatives that we're going to have to cover, as that's how we can remain balanced with regards to our feelings with this match. But I'm very, very proud of this performance. I'm very, very proud of the way they've gotten over the line. And it's good to see a youngster hold his nerves at the end and get us that final runs to take us over the finishing line. That's the main point of here. But the bowling performance was absolutely fantastic. And that is something that we're going to have to speak about. But on top of that, also, DLS, man, come on. I mean, the rain again almost stuffing it up for South Africa in a way. The way these DLS scores get calculated, and I understand it's got to do with wickets falling and all of those type of things, but the way the game ends up being when we are going for a DLS, it's almost in the team that batted first's favor almost. So it is one of those things that I think that is a little bit of a letdown from my perspective. But overall, I think this particular performance, these victories where you can just get over the line are so crucial because now we've done it. It's becoming a habit and more than just a luck. I think in the last World Cup, we got over the line in these close games, in one or two games, and it almost seemed like luck. Whereas in these matches, it's almost becoming a habit now to be able to keep your nerve under pressure when you need to win games. Because in previous times, under those circumstances, most of the time South Africa would have seed choked. And this time we've held our nerve. But now we have to do it. We haven't had that perfect game yet. That perfect game that Markram was speaking about before this particular match. We haven't had that perfect game yet where everything just went in our favor and we were 100% firing on all cylinders, batters and bowlers. Perhaps that will come in the semi-final. I'm hoping that will come in the semi-final and the final, that we can get closer and closer to that perfect game from a South African standpoint. But overall, at least we've gotten to the semi-final minimum. Not a lot of people thought that we could. And I remember the fan reaction before this T20 World Cup. When the squad was announced, we had conversations. A lot of people were sitting here and saying that they don't think we would even get out of the group. So the fact that we're getting out of the got through the Super Eights as well as made it to the semi-final, I think this team needs a hell of a lot of applause for that. And I think it was a great victory, but a nervy one. So we're going to discuss everything on the show today. But before we get going, before we get started, please subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos, please. If you are new, it's very important that you do so because we are getting closer and closer to our next milestone. I'd also like you guys to please smash that like button, comment, and share because we need your help to get into regular feeds, into the recommended feeds on YouTube, and so that we can continue growing and continue spreading, and our content can go into recommended feeds more often. You also, guys, please, we have a monthly magazine, and I would like you guys to please subscribe to that. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. So please go ahead and do so. And if you guys have products or services and you want us to sell it for you, you can go to the link in the description and find out how you can do so. We don't take any upfront payment. You only pay once you have made sales. So please go ahead to the marketplace. We have set that up. The link is in the description. Go and click it right away, guys, and go find out about that we have for you. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I am looking forward to discussing this game with you guys. A very good morning and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid Moedin. And this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with South Africa versus the West Indies. It was a quarter-final clash. That's how it ended up being, with South Africa and West Indies needing a victory to get into the semi-finals. It's crazy how it worked out that South Africa needed three wins to actually get into the semi-final, and both England only needed two, and West Indies only needed two to get through. Crazy how that ended up, but that's got a lot to do with the way that both England and the West Indies demolished the USA. That just shows that having that South Africans in your team in the USA always are going to do something against South Africa. We always know that that's basically going to happen. And I predicted that Andries Gous is going to be up for that and he's going to be extra motivated. And he made it a lot more difficult for South Africa to completely run over the USA. But that matches in the past. If you are new to this channel right now and you're coming in and you haven't subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe. Also, smash that like button on your way in, please, guys. Will really help me doing so. Remember that this is a call-in show, so you guys can call in as well, um, on the link that is pinned to the live chat. So let me just give you a quick summary if you are waking up right now in South Africa, because obviously this game started at 2 a.m. 2:30 a.m. South African Standard Time. So I was up all night, haven't slept, to cover this game and to watch this game, of course, and and it was worth it in the end. 100%, it was worth it. So, what happened? South Africa won the toss and they elected to chase. Um, a bold move by Aiden Markram, I would say, by the captain. But at the same time, I think it was the right decision given the conditions. Now, if things played out like it was supposed to, without this unpredicted rain, because not a lot of people would have thought that it would rain today at all. I mean, the weather reports all indicated that it would be clear skies. So, given the game situation and the wind, when it came to the wind situation, batting first on this particular strip was going to be difficult. Now, because this was an evening game, there was prediction that the wind would subside as the game went along and as the innings went along. And the reading of the conditions was perfect by the captain that decided to chase in this particular game. Put ourselves under a lot of pressure because we know that we play better when we bat first, generally speaking. But then what happened was South Africa put in a magnificent bowling performance. It wasn't 100% perfect, but it was close to it because we did take out two very, very important. We took three very, very important wickets um, in almost no time. But we started off with by putting the West Indies on the back foot instantly. Shea Hope was the first to go for a duck, and then Nicholas Puran, who is their best batter. Most people would say that he's their best batter and one of the best T20 players in the world at the moment. And he was taken out in the next over by Marco Jansen. Um, by Shea Hope taken out by Marco Jansen and then Puran taken out by Markram. Now, I think it was a brilliant piece of captaincy that Aiden Markram put himself into bowl. He decided to bowl himself the full 4 overs today because he noticed that he would have made it a little bit more difficult for the left-handers to face him, and he identified that, and he kept KG back, and he decided to take responsibility with the ball, and he did well today. 1 for 28 in 4 overs and 7 economy rate, including obviously the wicket of Nicholas Poran, who is a massive wicket. So that already put the West Indies on the back foot. But I knew that there was a guy in this team that I always feel has great games against South Africa, and that is Roston Chase. Roston did exceptionally well today with a bat and ball. He always seems to be a thorn in South Africa's side whenever he plays South Africa. Definitely from a West Indies perspective, man of the match for them. He scored 52 or 42 balls at a strike rate of 123.80 and he 2 6s and 3 4s. He was absolutely fantastic today, and he batted till the 16th over, um, and did exceptionally well. Him and Carl Mayers really gave South Africa a tough time. They took the West Indies to 86 for three after 12 overs. So it was a really difficult time from a South African standpoint when it comes to the way they batted as a pair. They built an innings nicely. They kept the runs ticking over. It was a brilliant partnership by the two of them. But then Shamsi came in, and Shamsi was absolutely phenomenal today. He was brought in for Otniel Bartman. Otniel was dropped today, and Shamsi was fantastic. I mean, he took out Cal Mayers, and he took out um, Roston Chase, and he took out Rutherford as well for a duck. And he finished with figures of 3 for 27 with an economy of 6.75. Fantastic bowling from Shamsi today. And he was actually the key bowler for South Africa. Even though Maharaj had spells that were decent, also taking out the captain for one, Ravman Powell. But it was Shamsi that stood out with the ball today. Kagiso Rabada was kept right until the end. He was kept until the final death overs, and he only bowled 2 overs today, and he took 1 for 11. And he was excellent. I mean, I like the maturity that he showed, and the responsibility that he showed to be that senior player. Not didn't complain about not being bowled, and um, what ended up happening is he bowled extremely well when he was called upon by his captain. Okay, yes, he was hit for 1 6 in the last over, but ultimately he did do his job and what was necessary of him. And we restricted the West Indies. We have to say that 135 for 8 after the 20 overs. This was a 150, 160 wicket. That's what most people would say before this game. And we restricted them. And then we came out to bat. And it started off really well with Quinton de Kock. He hit the boundary. He hit a couple of boundaries and was looking decent. He was really looking comfortable, especially against the spin up front. He hit 3 4s. And then he went for a big shot that wasn't necessary at the time. And this game management is something that we need from our openers. They need to understand the situation and try to build partnerships first and foremost before they start to go for the big shots. Now, I understand Quinton. He said it in his post-match press conference, and I mean his post-match interview after the last game against England, saying that on these wickets you need to go hard in the power play because that's your best opportunity to try and get the most amount of runs that you possibly can, and it's the best opportunity to bat freely because as you go along during the match, the wicket gets tougher and tougher to bat on. And he went with that mentality into this game. And then he ended up losing his wicket, playing his signature shot, actually, that he felt, um, a shot that he felt that he has been doing really well with at this World Cup. And he ended up getting caught on the boundary, unfortunately. So that was that was a crap one. But we first lost Risa Hendricks for golden duck again. Terrible. Um, I'm at the stage where I don't know what to do with Risa Hendricks at the moment. I don't know whether it is worthwhile to maybe give Rickleton a chance and open with Aiden Markram perhaps, and play Rickleton at 3. At this stage, the way Riza has been playing, can Rickleton be any worse than him? Can he do any worse than he did today? I mean, he can't. I mean, a golden duck is the worst that you can possibly do. Getting a duck off your first ball is probably the worst you can do as a batter, and he's not looking in great shape at all. And I feel that in a semi-final, with so much at risk, we can't afford to be in a situation like we found ourselves in today. Both of your openers out with 15 on the board after 2 overs. That's just not acceptable. So we can't find ourselves in that situation again. But they're going to have to do, the coaches are going to have to make that decision. And they're going to have to speak to the players, see them in the nets, and decide what they're going to do with the semi-final. Um, because at this stage, can Rickleton do any worse than Riza at the moment, or how worse than he did today? No, and that's the honest truth about the situation. But then you have to weigh up things like you have to weigh up big match temperament in finals, semi-finals, domestically, and see how many times Riza's won them for the Lions and how many times Rickleton has been in those situations and actually won those games for his team. And Riza's done it more than Rickleton has. I don't think Rickleton has ever actually won a game for the Lions in a final, for example, being the main scorer, scoring a massive score under pressure. He's done really well leading up to leading the team to the knockout stages. Now he'll be nervous, but I think he's talented enough to at least um, do a job for us at least better than what Riza has done so far. Riza has had one good score of 42 or 43, and the rest of his performances has been very poor. And not only has it been poor from a run scoring perspective, like for example with Aiden Markram, Aiden doesn't look out of form. He's just getting himself out again, like he always does. Like today, got himself out. No need to play that shot. Played the shot, went out. And those are whereas Riza doesn't look like he is seeing the ball correctly and is timing the ball deliveries and losing his wicket in the cheapest of ways. He doesn't look like he is confident at all. And then they have to look back at his track record and see, has this happened before? Well, every single time Riza gets out of form, he does look like this. He will get ducks, low scores, look like he is completely out of form. But then he'll come back and he'll score runs on the trot and go and score multiple 50s. There is no way that the person that was scoring runs consecutively like that for the last 2 years in T20 cricket for South Africa is suddenly a bad player. That's not how this game works. Players go through bad patches, and when Riza goes through a bad patch, he does tend to go through a bad patch for quite some time. And this is T20 cricket. And in T20 cricket, it takes like that, a click of the finger, and you can be back in form again. So, do we take that? Coach Rob is going to have to make that decision whether he's willing to take that risk and give Riza Hendricks another go, um, or is he going to try and give Ryan Rickleton a chance in a semi-final under this pressure? The safer option is probably going to be the one that the coach takes, and I'm pretty sure that in the pressure situation, most people would make that call and trust your senior player in a semi-final. So if they had to change the player, it should have maybe happened earlier. But I know there are some fans that will probably want that change to be made. Um, it's too late right now, I feel, for South Africa to make a change. You're going into a semi-final now. You need to have all your senior players on deck and on board and playing. So I think it's a bit too late to have made that change. They would have had because to fit in um, Ryan Rickleton, I don't think they would want to go with two left-handers at the top of the order. They'd want that left-hand, right-hand combination. So you'd have to change two players to be in Ryan Rickleton. You'd have to bring in um, bring Aiden into the opening spot, I feel, and then Rickleton has to go 3. I think that would be the smartest way to do it. But it had to happen today, or it had to happen in the previous game against the USA, or it needed to happen against England. So that change needed to happen already, and at least you could have given Ryan some chances leading up to the semi-final. There's no point right now, I feel, to change in the semi-final. But I had to bring up the topic because I know it's a topic that has been very popular on social media over the last couple of days and even today. Then Aiden Markram came into the crease after Quinny went out. Well, the rain came first and foremost, and that was a big bummer. And I was like, oh no, is the rain going to mess us up again? Is it going to be the downfall of South Africa once again? It almost did. I mean, I feel that the way that this terrain and the DLS is worked out is almost it put us at a disadvantage in a way. We needed 100 we had 15 on the board. We needed 108 of 90 balls to win this game, and South Africa were obviously going to have a tricky time to do so. We knew that that was going to happen, but I felt that the way we started the chase, the way we built with Aiden Markram and Tristan Stubbs, I think they did an excellent job to stay ahead of the DLS bar score. They had to work their way to do so, sixes and sevens per over, and they did get us into a decent position. And where we were ahead of the DLS, and all we needed to do is just knock the ball around. We that's all we needed to do. Take singles, take doubles where there are. If the boundary is like there to hit, then of course go for it. But I mean, we didn't really need to. We could have just knocked the ball around. And then Aiden played a shot that nobody understands. I mean, I didn't understand why he had to go for that boundary at that point, especially against the West Indies' best bowler in this tournament and best bowler in general, in my opinion. Alzari Joseph is one of my favorite bowlers, and he is fantastic. And we know that what he can do and what he's done in this tournament so far. So there was no need for Aiden to try and go for that straight down the ground type of shot for maximum. This was a type of game and a type of wicket where you can win, where we could win the game by playing strokes on the ground. We did not need to take unnecessary risks to hit sixes. I honestly don't think that that was needed from a South African standpoint. And yet in many occasions in this match, we did so. We went for shots at times in the match where we didn't really need to. And we ended up putting ourselves under unnecessary pressure. It should have been a much easier chase. But Aiden, we were down for 42 for 3, when Aiden Markram lost his wicket on 18 or 15 balls after hitting two beautiful fours. And then Tristan and Henrik Klaasen did exceptionally well to take us into the lead and into a very strong position. We were 77 for 4 after 8 overs, and we were really looking like we were going to take it home. I mean, Klaasen hit a couple of great boundaries against the spinners, and then he got a beautiful bouncer. I don't think there was much that Klaasen could have actually done against that delivery, to be honest with you. It was a very good bouncer that cramped him for space, and he ended up like edging it or kind of guiding it behind him into the gloves of the keeper. So that was something that was unfortunate. 22 of 10 runs he was at. He was striking at 220 at the time, and he looked like he was going to take South Africa home. And then David Miller. I was disappointed with David Miller today. Um, that was a bit disappointing. I feel that he couldn't get himself going, and went for unnecessary cut shot of Chase, who was really looking good. He was finding some turn. I think Miller just needed to rotate the strike. There was no need for a big shot at that stage. And then even worse, Tristan Stubbs' wicket. There was no need to go for that massive shot at that stage either. He just needed to bat as deep as possible. And I felt that big shot was unnecessary at the time. He was with Marco Jansen, someone that he trusts, someone that he knows. And he didn't need to take that unnecessary risk, I feel. And even though he did bat well up until that point, 29 of 27, he batted decently off that point. He looked like he was in full control, and then he was going to take us over the line. And then I felt that was a brain fart. To go after Chase like that, there was no need for that. He could have just rotated strike, hit the ball into the. There was like my opinion on this matter was that they didn't need to take risk shots like massive sixes, etc., to try and get the ball over the boundary. They could have played the ball safely on the ground, like the shot from Kagiso Rabada that really took the pressure off South Africa. The less we say about Keshav Maharaj, the better. I just feel Keshav kind of sometimes thinks he's a better batter than he is, and he goes for these big shots that he doesn't need to go for, and he ends up going for these massive shots and ends up losing his wicket or putting us under pressure and having dot balls, um, facing dot deliveries, which is unnecessary, and we didn't need that at the time. And then when KG came in, KG hit that 1-4 that really took the pressure off. And then Marco Janssen obviously batted brilliantly. I think the way he batted was really good, and he kept his cool, and he took us over the line. He actually won the game for South Africa with a six, 21 of 14, a striker of 150, 1-4 and 1-6. So fantastic performance from Marco Janssen, to hold his nerve and actually ended up winning us the game, with a bat. So fantastic. So that was a great game. There is something with the bowling that I forgot to mention that I was a bit upset about, the amount of wides that we conceded. I think there were a bit too many wides conceded. I think extras, those are the type of things that we need to clamp down on a bit more. I mean, we saw England bowl against South Africa. They barely gave away any extras. And we need to get into that. And India does the same. They barely give away any extras. And I think we're going to have to do the same from a South African standpoint. We need to find a way now to obviously ease those things up, play a lot more tight with the ball, and give less away to the opposition. And that's how you win tournaments, and that's how you can win World Cups, etc. Please smash the like button as you come in, guys, please. But we're in the semifinals, and I'm extremely happy and extremely proud of the Proteas for getting to another semifinal. We've semifinal in the 2023 World Cup and the semifinal once again over here. So we've found some consistency with regards to making it at least to the knockouts. And I think this team is still young, and I think they will get better and they'll continuously grow and learn from these experiences. And yeah, I think we have found ways to win games even under a lot of pressure, even under pressure situations. And I think that that's a brilliant thing from a South African standpoint. Um, and we have to take those positives, into the semi-final and put the rest of the negatives behind us, and obviously focus on winning that semi-final and playing our best cricket that we possibly can. There is definitely, by the law of averages, there is definitely a high possibility that we will get that perfect game at some point now, either in the semi-final. Hopefully, we do get it in the semi-final, and we can continue that momentum into the final. But we need to hope and pray that we can find that perfect game that Aiden Markram was talking about. I think we are very familiar now with with these conditions. I think the decision to want to play in the West Indies before this particular T20 World Cup was a brilliant decision. And I think it is going to work in our favor. We understand the conditions a lot better, I think. And I feel that we still have big performances in the bag from a South African standpoint. We have a caller on the line. We've got Amit. What would you like to say, brother? Can I have your say?
Hello, am I audible?
How's it?
Okay, so what I want to say is we are in general very much critical of the fact that the players are not doing the right thing, like Aiden and Tristan Stubbs going hard at wrong timing. And in previous game, we were critical about Bartman being uh, trying hard for the Yorker at the wrong timing where he could have bowled lengths. But one thing which we are not being critical is not the proper execution of that thing. Like today's Markram's shot, which we saw, it was quite weird. The bat swing was in the front direction, but the bat face was towards covers. I mean, that should be a bigger criticism, because if you are trying to go hard in such a situation, it should be perfectly executed. Because if it is going right, then nothing matters. Similarly, in last game, Batman's strength is Yorker, and if he's going to miss it by this much margin, it's fine if he's trying to go for Yorker. But it is also a cause of worry that players are not being able to execute these things perfectly, which they should.
Hmm. Yeah, no, you spot on, and I think that is a good criticism. Um, I've always mentioned that about the Proteas players, that it's the certain decision makings under pressure that something, particularly the batters, I feel, because the bowlers have proven that they've the bowlers in general, other than Batman in that last game, but generally speaking, even Batman throughout this tournament, they've done it pretty well, making the right decisions at the right time, bowling the right deliveries on the right wicket, reading the conditions correctly. But our batters have always seemed to make the wrong decisions at the wrong time. And also, another thing is taking responsibility at the crease at the right times. Like the senior players need to step up and do that, and decide like when to farm strike, when not to, when to take singles, when not to. Those type of things need to be better. And we need to still play. Like Maiden Markram did say that we haven't played our perfect game yet. So I mean, let's hope that we can do that in the semi-final. I mean, from your perspective, Amit, would you change anything from a team perspective for that semi-final, or would you keep
Uh,
the same 11?
First of all, I don't see Stubbs in good rhythm. I would keep him at six because we know that Afghanistan and India have good spinners. We need Klassen to have more time in the middle overs, and also even Miller is good at spin. And we need to see that the most of the spinners which these teams are having are not off spinners. The main spinners, like even if Australia comes to the semi-finals, they have Ashton Agar, Adam Zampa. Neither of them is off spinner. Even for Afghanistan, they don't have. I mean, Nabi is there, but mainly they are dependent on Rashid Khan and um, Ahmed.
Hmm.
And for India, we talk about there are two left arm orthodox spinners, Akshar Patel and Ravindra Jadeja. There are not many off spinners, so even Miller needs to have some time in middle. So
Hmm.
Stubbs has no other choice but to bat at number six. Also, if we talk about the batting position of Rabada and Maharaj, KG is a lefty, and in that case, we know that on other ends, if there is a right-hander, we should try to make that combination. There's not much difference in their batting skills of KG and Keshav. So in that case, sometimes KG can bat up the order. And if we talk about Ray and Rickelton, the point you pointed out that there will be two lefties at the top, and the opponents don't have an off spinner, so it's fine if both of them can open because the biggest threat to two left-handers is an off spinner, and the other three teams which are potential semi-finalists, India, Australia, and Afghanistan, neither of them has a good off spinner, barring Maxwell.
Yeah, who has been a thorn in our side in the past. So we seem to make it difficult against anybody. I mean, thanks a lot for coming and calling in. Is there any final words you would like to say?
No, that's all from my side.
Thank you for calling in, bro. I'll speak to you again very soon. Okay, so let me get into the live chat. Good points made by Amite. Let me just get into the comment section. Dick saying, hell yeah. Yeah, give me a hell yeah. Time to drop Riza and Markram not scoring runs. Um, Monu says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A lot of Riza changes team. For seventh consecutive match, the top order didn't fire yet. The bowlers are winning it for them. And we actually thought that it was going to be the other way around before this tournament started because of the way that our bowlers looked before this tournament started. But it seemed like they were trying a couple of things perhaps and trying to find their rhythms. Tabo says Stubbs was the most unnecessary one of all. Ruban says SA most probably will meet India in semi-final in Guyana, as I'm sure Australia will beat India, as the Aussies always play well when they have to win. India are not really on top form as their batters are struggling. Yeah, either or, whatever team we get. But I mean, Australia, I think if Afghanistan beat Bangladesh, Afghanistan goes through, if I'm not mistaken, if Australia lose to India. So yeah, there's a lot at stake in that match that's happening, I think, later today. So, gonna be crazy match that India Australia game. I think it's going to be worthwhile watching. Um, Tabus Klassen grew up playing on bouncy tracks but can't play short balls. Yeah. Prashana says net run rate of India is way too high. So Australia, after winning could still be group runners up. Captain says, I think Markram will come good in the semis. BG3 says, when Riza was in dream form before last two T20 World Cups, everyone wishing to have him. Now he lost his form and he's picked. What an unlucky guy. It is a bit unlucky that falls out of form in this World Cup when he was brilliant leading up to the World Cup. He was absolutely fantastic. He's been his form, his lack of form has come at the worst possible time. And I just hope that he kicks on and finds it in the semi final. We may need him. Afghanistan has the opportunity to enter semi final as they will know what they need to do against Bangladesh. As this match is played after the India Australia match, and Afghanistan has the skills to do the job. Definitely do. Aiden is a top player. Just believe he will come good in the semis. Ivan says Malcolm looks good before getting out. Every time, this is more of a mental thing than ability. Can't comprehend why he played that nothing shot. Those decisions need to improve. They need to get better at making those decisions under pressure, in pressure moments. That's my biggest critique of the batting lineup. It's always been is that they always make the wrong decisions at the wrong time. We just need them to make the right decisions. And I know it's easier said than done under that pressure, but that's why the importance of strike rotation is there to take that pressure off you. Because if you can just keep that run sticking over, you don't find yourself struggling after facing a whole lot of dot balls and then being forced to play a big shot for a boundary. And that's what we end up happening to us every single time. We put ourselves under unnecessary pressure. Safra says, I think India and SA are both in a similar position when it comes to their batting and bowling, with SA having a slight edge in fielding. It will be a close game between them. India bat deep and look better than SA in a batting. They have Magician Sky. Yeah, the guy is amazing. In my time square says, I will not blame Quintercock and Stubbs. Quintercock gave good start and sometimes can be bad, but okay, Stubbs did good when required. It just didn't finish the game, but he has been good, but little disappointment on Miller. Miller should not take so many dot balls. Yes, I was actually saying that. Um, I actually mentioned that because it was really irritating me that we put ourselves in such a good position by finding that pressure boundaries, and then we end up s- undoing all of that hard work by soaking up dot balls. And I don't expect our senior player like David Miller to do that. He should be able to manipulate that ball and find the gap and get us a single and keep the pressure on. And he just didn't do that. Dex said Tristan could have easily taken us home, but through his wicket, he will learn from this. His innings was important. Sanjay says, I have never seen any team win 7 consecutive close matches in a row. It's brilliant what we have done. It's actually magnificent what we have actually achieved here. I'm not mad at Tristan. Which venue is SA playing this in the semis? I'm actually not sure which venue we're playing for the semis. Um, I'll let you know closer to the time. KM says it will be SA versus Australia again. We'll wait and see. Taim says, why you support Lungingidi? His performance of being inconsistent. He should never be in the team. What are you talking about? He's not in the team. I don't understand why you bringing up Lungi. He hasn't even played in this whole World Cup. Um, if there's India versus SA semi, please check the rain forecast. I guess no reserve day. PCCI might bring a reserve day. Sam says, Khalid, I want to mention what was necessary to play shots when you are winning easily. Just rotate the strike. Batters should learn. Yeah, but we also must remember it's not as easy as we think it is to rotate the strike when bowlers are putting into deliveries. It's not that easy. But I would rather see them failing or mistiming shots that could be played for singles than mistiming shots that they are trying to go for big. When the mentality is the wrong way by showing that they're trying to go for big shots to clear the boundary instead of trying to go for with the mentality wise, showing that mentality by playing the ball into the gaps and trying to rotate the strike. Invoice says Janssen can actually have my children after that. Uh, Devon says West Indies actually were really poor. We got away today, but won't always be so lucky. Um, it's not. I don't think it's at this stage. I don't think it's luck. We've done how many? We've done this every single game this World Cup except the USA game. We've won this in this fashion, so it's clearly not luck anymore. I feel. Um, Sam says, Khalid, I want to mention if Riza not in form, not timing the ball, he at least could have with energy and could should have come with intent. That was nothing shot. He looks lower in confidence. He does. And I think there needs to be a conversation with him to, to just remind him what type of player he actually is. Um, Shafa says Aiden Markram has to be given huge credit for his captaincy. I did give that brilliant captaincy today. Makes you wonder what could have happened in the last year's World Cup if was the captain. I was advocate for him to captain the side. I've always been a fan of Markram and his captaincy. BG3 only semi-final of India game is fixed. Khalid. There is rain forecast on that day. But if it's rain forecast on that day, why? How can it be fixed? Matt says, "What's the that could happen by playing? What's the worst that would happen by playing Rix? Riza is already out of form, and that is the point that I made earlier on. It's a decision that the coach is going to have to make, whether he is going to back his senior player or whether he feels that um, it's not going to be much of a difference to play Rickleton. Um, I do though feel I don't mind either decision, to be honest. I want him to make the best decision for the team. Whether it's Rickleton or Riza doesn't bother me. I just want him to make the right decision. And whatever decision they make, I'm going to support. There's too much details involved in the decision for me to just make a blank statement here and say, oh, it should be Riza, it should be Rickleton. There's a lot of things that need to come into the decision and into the thinking process when it comes to this particular decision to drop Riza. Daim says, why is SA play so less test cricket? Can we increase our international series? We've had a conversation about this on plenty of shows leading up. We're talking about the World Cup right now, so we're not going to dive into that. We'll probably do a little bit more conversation on that closer to the time, closer to when we play the Test series. Safar says Rabada has been on a great form after the US leg. I think he has really stepped it up, bat and ball, and he has, and he deserves his credit for the way he's performed. At this stage, the form that he's in, I don't think we can leave him out for what Neil when we play the two spinners anymore. Uh, he's stepping up in the pressure situations and shown that he can bowl at the death as well. But we'll have to wait and see what they decide to do going forward. But I don't think they will drop KG, and I think KG stepped up now. In the games that we've asked him to, he has now stepped up and he's found momentum. Tex says we'll pull off an Arsenal 2003-4. Imagine that. Invincibles, you say. Uh, Time says, who you think will retire till the T20 World Cup 2026? I think this will probably be Quinton de Kock's last T20 World Cup, to be honest, in my opinion. I think that he'll probably stop playing international cricket and only play in leagues. I think the rest of the guys will probably still be playing. Devon, good decision to play Shamshi today. He was very smart with his plans to the batters, really changed the trajectory of the match. Brilliant, yes. And also very good um, use of the bowlers. The decisions that Aiden made as a captain today on when to bowl, who, where, and at what stage of the match was brilliant. And also to have the guts and the courage to bring himself on and bowl 4 overs. I think that was a masterclass as well. Um, that was brilliant captaincy today. Uh, Blitz says Quinton de Kock is too young to retire. Yeah, I agree. But I mean, he's already retired from ODI cricket and Test cricket. So it is what it is with Quinton de Kock. I don't think you want to change. We can change his mind on that. I don't think anybody can. If he's at this, I'm just getting that feeling that he'll give up international cricket and just play in leagues. But guys, thanks a lot for the callings. Thanks a lot for joining the show and having your say. I really enjoyed your conversations in the live chat and what you've had to say on today's show. So pumped and so happy, and I know I might not be showing it because I'm really tired, but I'm extremely ecstatic about the fact that South Africa have got into the semi-final. We need to have that perfect game now, and I hope that we can bring our perfect game to the semi-final. No matter who we play, whether it be Afghanistan, Australia, or India, let's just bring our best game and give them a proper run for their money. I don't want to bow out to the World Cup being dominated. I want to, if we do bow out to the World Cup in a semi final, I want to go down fighting and swinging, or win convincingly. Um, Theo says difficult as fans to understand, but think the coaches will back Riza. He deserves his chance. Um, it might be difficult for fans to understand that. Yes, I get that, um, and that's why I said it's a very difficult decision. And I can understand reasons both ways. For me, it's not as clear cut as most as I've seen some fans make it out to be. It's not as clear cut as just to say Riza comes in, Riza goes out, and Rico comes in. I think there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to those decisions. Riza also has a lot more experience when it comes to playing in these conditions than Rickleton. So with your star players and that, you've got to back them and believe in them that they can come good, and then they will perform when it really matters. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and click that notification bell for all future videos. Also, smash that like button, please, guys. Very important that you guys do so. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys very, very soon with another show. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening.